Am I live now? The dog just started barking. Great timing, Abe. Thank you. Did you guys hear that? Anyways, hello, and welcome to the All About China live stream. I should have done this a really long time ago. Like, I know that when I usually do live streams, it's either like, let's just hang out, or there's a specific topic, but I don't think I've ever done a live stream specifically about China. So, yeah, game video play like. What does that mean? Great timing. Did you guys heard Abe? He was like full on. Yeah, anyways, I think some neighbors just came home. So just to clarify, I am not in China. I'm in the U.S. I've been in the U.S. for almost a year now. I still make China content because people still want it. And because I still have like really strong memories from China, and I have a lot of experiences that I had for that during that year I was in China that I want to share with you guys. Like it takes like, obviously it takes time to like move to China, explore China, move back from China, and so when I got back, I'm like, now it's time to really share. So that's why I'm still making China content like a year out. And I still get thank you messages from people that are like, I haven't found any like great packing lists about moving to China until I found yours. And so, you know, I keep making China content. If you guys are here because you are going to China and you've never seen my videos, like if you just like Googled, oh, yeah, hi Thandi. If you just like were searching and somehow ended up here and you've never seen my content, I have a ton of stuff linked up in the iCards, which here, maybe it's in one of the corners. There's a little eye icon. If you push it, it'll drop down with a bunch of China content. That's like some of my favorite content. Also, all day today, like literally the whole day, I have been writing a blog post that I've been meaning to do for a very, very, very long time. It is extremely thorough, and it would be super helpful to anybody who is moving to China, especially if you're coming from the US. So stay tuned for that blog post. My website is laurenwithoutfear.com. It will be posted either tonight or tomorrow morning. And yeah, I think you're going to like it. Anyways, famous peeps. Oh, you're welcome. I don't know what you're saying thank you for. How is it in China? Thandi could answer that. Is it cold in China? I hear Beijing's starting to get pretty cold. But I imagine, I don't know, is Nanjing cold yet? I kind of doubt it, to be honest. Like southern China, I don't know. How's Changsha, Thandi? When I was in Beijing, I remember this was the time of year where I was like, I don't have enough clothing to make it through the rest of my time in China. You know, famous peeps. No? I don't. But that's your username. All right, let's move on. So I want to wait just a second to like dive into all this stuff. But a few topics that, oh no, Mariah, oh, you're in Ontario, California. I don't even know where that is. I'm sorry you have terrible service. This will be uploaded, later on. Like once the stream is over. So this is going to be an hour long, all about China. Once it's over, it will be automatically uploaded to my channel, and it's usually available like really fast, like within 10 minutes. So 6:40 p.m. Pacific time is about when you can expect this to come on my channel, Mariah. I wish you all the best. Happy travels. Thandi says it's freezing, and she's in Changsha, which that's south-ish. So yeah, it's cold in China. In a nutshell, it's cold in much of China. Then again, I'm from South Africa. Anything under 15 degrees Celsius is cold for me. God, I'm so bad at the Celsius to Fahrenheit conversion. Hold up. Because all I know is that 20 degrees Celsius is like 80 degrees Fahrenheit. 15 C2F. I'm going to guess that's too cold for me, too. I'm from Washington State in the U.S., which is like northwest corner. Like, oh, I have a map behind me. How convenient. So I'm not really wearing like appropriate pants while I'm just wearing shorts. I'm from like here in the U.S. Like, here's the U.S. I'm like from right here, like right next to Canada in the corner. So it rains a lot where I'm from, and it gets pretty freaking cold. In November last year, it was it was like 40-ish degrees every day, which, hold on, I have a thingy. I have a Celsius to Fahrenheit thingy pulled up. 40 degrees. It was like consistently 40 degrees in November. That's like 4 degrees Celsius. I don't like that. My comfort range is anything like above, I mean, if it gets below like 20 degrees Celsius, I'm cold. It's kind of sad. I'm such a Californian now. Anyways, Christian, hello. They say, I'm going to China next week. I can't wait. Any suggestions? I'm going to Beijing, Xi'an, Zhangjia, Shanghai, and Hong Kong. Oh my God, that one always throws me off, but I've always wanted to go there. That's the national park, right? The Zhangjia. God, I can't pronounce that. My suggestion to you is, well, first of all, how long are you going to China for? You are going to see probably more of China than I saw while I was there. I went to Nanjing, Shanghai, Beijing, Hong Kong, although it's not really, I don't think Hong Kong feels much like China, to be quite honest. And then I went to like the Great Wall, and I went to a rural area kind of just outside Nanjing. Xi'an, I've always wanted to go there. I hear that the terracotta warriors are amazing, and you have to see it, but Xi'an is actually extremely underrated as just like a city itself. I hear it's really awesome, historic, really beautiful. It's like a great city for tourists. So good choices on your cities. 14 days. Oh my God, that's a long time. My suggestion to you, that's a long 14 days. 1, 2, 3, 4 for 5 cities. Oh my God, you're moving quick. Like 2 days a city. That's crazy. I think my suggestion to you is download WeChat before you go. So that you can make friends with people in China and have like great memories, and be able to like have those contacts so you can keep in contact with people you meet in China. Because I found Chinese people to be extremely kind, even though I don't speak Mandarin. And so I have people on my WeChat that I can like, if I go back to China, I can be like, hey, what are you doing? You want to hang out? Like, yeah, I don't know. I think download WeChat. I guess for suggestions, are you wondering like tips or just like suggestions on enjoying China? Practice your squats, because the squatting toilets are out there. Are you a man? I'm sorry. Do you have to squat? I'm not sure. You'll have to squat eventually. Practice your squats. I'm glad you've seen my videos and that you find them helpful. That's awesome. I get emails from people all the time who are like, oh my God, I found your videos and it's like this treasure trove of information. And I'm so happy about that, because when I went to China, I felt like there was nothing. Like there's a little bit here and there, but like the person whose videos I like watched all of, she doesn't even vlog anymore. Like she was only in China for like 3 months, and then she stopped vlogging. And I'm like, why is this coming up at the top of search rankings? Like there weren't enough people making content. So yeah, I'm glad that's on there. Yeah, practice your squats. Download Pleco before you go, Pleco. It's an app. Download WeChat before you go. I found it really helpful to have a currency conversion app on my phone, and also I'm from the US, and so I'm used to Fahrenheit. So I would also have to Google Celsius to Fahrenheit all the time, which is so sad, because I really wish I grew up with Celsius, because I don't know, I think it makes more sense. Anyways, it's like really hot in here, guys. I'm sweaty. What's the temperature here in Hayward, California? That's a good question. It's probably, I'm going to guess it's like 80, which is, I think, 30 degrees Celsius. Yeah, 82. So it's like above 30 degrees Celsius. This is like prime temperature for me. And yeah, some of you might be like, what on earth? Why in California is it 80 degrees in the end of October? This is just California. It's like, it never really gets like, I mean, okay, Eastern California, if you go up in the mountains, of course it's cold. But down here, like in the Bay Area, we're very close to sea level, and it doesn't get very cold here. Conversion app, check. Pleco, check. Get WeChat, check. Let's see. Thandi, do you have any suggestions for him? Thandi lives in China right now. Do you have a VPN? Do you... Oh, pack. What am I thinking? When you get there, you should buy some packs of pocket tissues. I'm not going to say why, but you should. You'll like it. I'm not in China right now. It's a common misconception on my channel. I'm actually in California. I've been here for most of the year. But I was in Nanjing and then in Beijing. Yeah. Let's see. So I posted on Facebook asking, what do you guys want to talk about in this live stream? And also, if you haven't followed if you haven't liked my Facebook page yet, go do that. It's facebook.com/laurenwithoutfear. There you go. Go like my page on there and you'll get more updates than you will from YouTube. My life's been super crazy right now, so I haven't uploaded a ton of content recently, but it's kind of changing. And also, I got something really exciting, you guys. Oh my gosh. I wish I had this in China. This is the camera I wish I had in China. I had a DSLR and I had a GoPro, and this is what I should have gotten from the get-go. This, and look. Why don't I have this? Why didn't I have this before? Look, I can like vlog and see myself. It's super tiny and lightweight. I can like pull off the lens. It's crazy. So yeah, anyways. Yeah. What was I talking about? Steven Boots. What is your favorite part of China? I think my favorite part of China is, my favorite part of any place is probably the people. Chinese people are so kind and welcoming. Like, I found them to be extremely kind and welcoming. So that's probably my favorite part. But like, second to that, my favorite part would probably be just like how ancient everything is. I love that. Of course I'm fascinated by ancient history because I'm from the US. We don't really have basically all the ancient history that used to be here was like destroyed back in the day, and it just kind of got squashed. So like when I was in college, I became really obsessed with Native American culture. And there's not a ton of that left around in the US, unfortunately. So going to China, it was really cool to be like, the native culture here is still here. What? Like, it was just like, things were like thousands of years old. It was so cool. Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts also. Thandi says to bring a big jacket, especially for when you go to Zhangjie. That's here in the Hunan. It's cold. I'm so sorry I can't say that name. I know it's a national park in China, and I know it's stupidly pretty. Like, I hear it's insanely beautiful. I didn't go there because the transportation to get out there looked really intense, and we didn't have time for that by the time it was an option for us. Okay, so Joanne says, hi, I love the idea of taking small packets of tissues. Heading there in May next year, but only for 2 weeks. And yes, I know why you need tissues. Joanne, yeah, bring some tissues. Bring tissues, bring hand sanitizer. Just like a couple packets of those pocket tissues and like one bottle of the travel hand sanitizer. You good. Don't pack anything else. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. And I guess, let's see, what else? So Christian, you're only going to be there, you're going to be there for 14 days. It's like a long time and a short time at the same time. Like, I think when you're in China and you tell people like they're going to be like, how long are you here for? And you'll say 14 days. They'll say, that's it? Because when we told them we were going to be in China for about 10 months, they were like, that's not enough time. I was like, okay, I'll be back. Yeah, so Joanne, do you have any questions about China, or like, where are you going in China? Like, I don't want this to just be me like spewing advice at you. I'm happy to do it, but I would love to hear from you guys as well. So if there's something like, Thandi, if there's something about China that you want to like share on here, or we could rant about living in China. Like, we don't have to keep it super positive. Let's be real, like we can be positive and negative and just like real. We'll bring it all back at the very end. We'll make sure we leave happy thoughts about China, because China is really amazing. It is. Let's see. Alex, what up, Alex? So Joanne, Where in China are you going? You said you're going to be there for 2 weeks. I'd love to know. Have any of you guys in this chat been on a guided tour group in China? And it's probably, I'm guessing if you have, it's probably a foreign tour group, not like the Chinese tour groups where they have those little flags and their freaking hats and stuff. I love Chinese tour groups and I hate them at the same time. When I was in China, I hated them. I don't hate anybody or anything. It's just strong. I'm being dramatic. I did not like running into them because they stared a lot and they always wanted pictures, which is fine, but like when it's a huge group of people all wanting pictures, it takes a really long time. And I just felt like I would try to like side skirt the group and like hide and pretend I'm like, don't look at me, I'm not a foreigner, bye. I don't know. I just felt like a freak show kind of when I walked past a group of Chinese tourists. That's something we can talk about too. I think one thing I wasn't super prepared for when I went to China, which is kind of dumb because everyone knows this stuff, I think is like, China is a very homogenous culture. There are lots of people living there, and the majority of them are Chinese, specifically Han Chinese. So if you are anything but Han Chinese, you might feel like a freak show. If you are Han Chinese and you were born in the US or you were born out of China and you don't even speak Chinese, it's going to be even harder. So it's a really interesting dynamic as far as like your ethnicity comes into play so heavily in China. It's strange. Like, it just blew my mind because I'm from America. I feel like I've said I'm from America like 20 times already. I'm going to open those blinds in just a second because I feel like it's getting dark in here. But what was I saying? I'm from America, which is a melting pot. Like, within this area that I live in, there are Mexican families, Chinese families, Eastern European families. There's like people who are born and raised here in the US, people with mixed parents, people with parents who are, both just like European blood mixture. That's my parent. Well, whatever. Anyways, there's a lot of types of people here. And so it's not normal to notice someone's ethnicity like from the get-go. I mean, that's just not, I don't know. It's like I'm used to this like rainbow of skin colors all the time. And I don't know. I don't want to get on a rant on this, but basically I wasn't prepared for how unique I was in China. I didn't realize that the staring and the curiosity and the picture taking would be so intense. Here, let me open up these blinds really quick because it's getting kind of dark. 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm not leaving forever. Should I turn on this light? There we go. Better. I don't want it to get like too pixely because it's already 480p when I do live streams because my internet can't really handle it much more than that. Anyways. Okay, so Christian says, do you recommend guided tours or not? That's what I'm wondering because I've actually never been on a guided tour in China. So I would love to hear from any of you guys. If you've been on a guided tour, let me know. I guess my instinct is to say no, don't do the guided tour, because I hear that when you are a tourist from out of, like, basically if you're not Chinese, they're going to drive you around to all these vendors where they make a commission from it. That's what I hear. I don't know, especially with the Great Wall stuff. I think my best tip for you to get the most out of your time in China, I'm assuming you want to go to the Great Wall. I don't really recommend you go to Badaling. I don't recommend anyone go to Badaling. It's that section of the Great Wall is like really intense and crazy. Also, check the Chinese holiday calendar, like check to see when the national holidays are. And if you're hitting China during any of those national holidays, try to plan your trip like around not tourist sites. I don't know. You probably already planned this out all well. Anyways, oh my God, it's getting so cold. The spitting has started again. Be prepared. Yeah, when we got there, it was February in Nanjing, which it was pretty cold. I was in like wool sweaters and like thick socks and like all that stuff. And there was a lot of spitting. My first experience with spitting, believe it or not, and this is not uncommon, but it's not like the most common. I think the most common spitting sight that you see in China is like an old man spitting, hawking a loogie on the sidewalk. I saw a very young girl, maybe like 8 years old, like walk over to a trash can in the airport and spit in the trash can. And I was like, this is different. I didn't really get it. Trent, thank you. Hi, you're so amazing. Oh, stop it. Stop it. It's so, you're too nice. Actually, it's really hot. Trent, how is it in Southern California? It's about 82 up here in Hayward, California. And I hear that there's been a lot of fires in Southern California. It's been crazy. Anyways, Thundy said, I've been in a tour, but it was a Chinese tour, one of the worst experiences of my life. Yeah. Yeah. I can only imagine being like very, very obviously not Chinese. And having the hair, too. You were saying, like, people are super into your hair and they want to touch your hair and take pictures with it and stuff. I wore my hair in a bun most of the time, and it definitely got less attention when that was the case, but I can't even imagine having, like, black hair. Like you know, like the textured... And in the U.S. they call it ethnic hair, which I think is a really weird name. But, like, that different texture of hair is very... I mean, it's just unheard of in China. So I can only imagine. Hi again, Steven. Thanks, Trent. I'm so excited about the new camera. A huge reason I was able to finally pull the trigger and do it is because I got on Patreon, and I had a couple big supporters. Thank you. Shout out to Jesse and to Becca. You guys are incredible. My other Patreon supporters are Allie. I'm going to feel really bad if I forget someone. Stephanie and crap, I can't remember the other guy's name. I'm going to have to look this up, or else I'm going to feel real bad. Crap. Peter? That's just a guess. Anyways, I'll look it up and give you a shout out. Joanne says we're doing a tour group, so probably fast-paced. Beijing, Xi'an, Wuxi, Suzhou, Hangzhou, Shanghai. Holy. I shouldn't swear on live streams. That's a lot. And it's probably going to be fine, though. I feel like, from what I hear, going with a tour group that is a foreign-based tour company is usually better than a Chinese tour group. Does that make sense? Like, I'm assuming you're coming from, like, a foreign tour group, and I hear those are really fun. I actually saw so many, like people you wouldn't expect, people who look like your typical, like, American, like, middle-aged lady, like, who sits in an office cubicle and hangs out, and they were freaking flying back from Beijing, talking about how awesome their experience was, and I'm like, I don't know, I just have this stereotype that, like, the only people willing to go to China are young. So it's really, really cool to hear, like, to have heard on that flight, like, so many freaking foreigners coming back to America who had like an awesome experience on a tour group. It was really, really cool. Great point, Trent. If any of you are going to Beijing, definitely go check out the channel Lena Around, youtube.com/Lena Around. That's Lena Around. She goes by Ling Ling. And she should have a link in all her recent videos, or you can just comment and ask her, or send her a message on WeChat or whatever. Get in touch with her if you are going to Beijing and you want a local to give you a tour, because she does really affordable, like awesome, thorough tours, totally customized to whatever you want. And she does it through this website. I can't remember the name of it. Trent, if you have the link, let me know. If not, no big deal. All you gotta know is go to Lena Around. She's got a great YouTube channel also. She still lives in Beijing. Joanne says from Australia, most tour companies go through Nexus. I think I've heard of, why do I feel like I've heard of Nexus? Government makes all tour groups that go to the hard sell factories, jade, silk, etc. I see, yeah. So that's the thing with tour groups in China, is that they tend to take you to a bunch of shops that you didn't ask to go to because they make a commission if you buy something. But, you know, if you already wanted souvenirs, nothing wrong with that. Thandi says, I used to let them take pictures and touch my hair. Now I just put on my F-off face and they know. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, you just got to stick up for whatever you want. Like, you are an individual and you are in charge. You are an autonomous person. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't want to get your picture taken, just give off the body language like, I'm not going to take a picture with you right now. And they won't do it usually. Some people are persistent and some people will sneak photos. That was what got me the most, was like, I'd be on the subway and I'd hear someone's phone do that, like, like that click, that fake like camera click sound that phones make. And I'd see someone like this on the subway, like pretending to be all chill, and they'd be like snapping a photo of me. I'm like, what kind of awful photo did you just take of me? And you didn't even ask my permission. So it was frustrating because I didn't speak Mandarin, so there wasn't like I could just like easily go up and be like, get off me, bro, like don't do that, and like get up in his face. No, that's not what, I'm not aggressive. But I couldn't really call him out on it because I didn't speak Mandarin, and I'm assuming that if I started speaking English to him and he spoke English, he probably wouldn't have, he would just be like, oh, I don't speak English. Because that's one of the great things about China, though, is even if you speak Chinese, but you get in a situation where someone's selling you something and being like super persistent and annoying, you can just pretend you don't speak Chinese, which is great. Do the people in China speak English? For the most part, no. Many of the young people do, but not as many as I was let on to believe. And I was in Beijing. Like, out of all the places that people are going to speak English, it's probably going to be Beijing. Or Shanghai, like one of the two. Shanghai actually wasn't bad. I mean, as far as like English teaching. Wait, hold on. My computer's doing, I have this like nighttime filter, and I guess the sun just set. I'm going to disable it so it doesn't slow things down. There we go. Sorry about that. So I was told that everyone in China was going to want to practice their English with me, and I got to Nanjing, and like nobody spoke English. Then we got to Beijing, no one spoke English. When we were in Shanghai, I found it was easier to get around with English, but still not the best. Yeah. In short, you need to be able to speak like just the most basic Mandarin, or at least have a good app on your phone to speak for you. You can't really like travel all of China without speaking a little Mandarin at least. I don't know. I found that not many people spoke English. Not as many as I expected, at least. So one of the things that someone on Facebook, that's why I posted my Facebook link. I was like, why did I do that? Sorry. Oh, I'm hot. One of the things that I posted on Facebook as a suggested topic that someone indicated interest in was the Great VPN Scare of 2018. So here's the situation. I was talking to Thandi, actually, who's in the chat right now, and she was telling me that ExpressVPN, which is a service I used, and the service I'm always recommending to you guys just because, you know, I don't like to recommend things to you guys that I don't have experience with and that I don't know is, like, super good. So, like, BetterHelp, the online counseling I've used, I still use it, and ExpressVPN I used for a year. Like, that's the only kind of stuff I really want to suggest to you guys. I don't want to, like, suggest everything that's offered to me, you know? I say no to emails a lot. Let's put it like that. Anyways, what on earth was I talking about? ExpressVPN. Thandi was telling me that they have limited it down to 3 locations that you can log on to. And I went on their website recently, and they were saying, like, look at all these locations you can pretend to be in, which I found really interesting because at first I was thinking one of my big issues with ExpressVPN was, like, why are there so many location options? Like, I don't need this many options. I just want it to work. So I would be testing out VPNs in all these locations, trying to find the one with the best upload speed so I could just upload a freaking YouTube video. Lena will, or Ling Ling from Lena Around will lament all about this as well. Trying to find the location with the best upload speed. And I often wished that they were just like, hey, this is the best upload speed right now. Like, I just wanted there to be less choice. And so I'm kind of wondering if they ask for feedback from people, and this is their response to that feedback. You know, limiting the amount of countries that you can log on to and boosting up just a couple so that there's like 3 that are super good and the rest are just like, you know, kind of behind the scenes, and you don't really have to be presented with an overwhelming number of options. On the flip side, you could interpret that to be, oh my God, why are so many of their VPN locations getting shut down? Like, is this a response to government threats? And it's honestly impossible to tell right now. I still would be shocked if VPN were to get completely banned. I'd be shocked. I really, deep down in my gut, I don't feel like it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to shut down all the VPNs. I think they're just going to shut down the free ones and the local Chinese VPNs. And they might like limit the other ones if they do anything to the other ones. But to be honest, I get the feeling that ExpressVPN and these paid VPNs are in kind of a different realm in the government's eyes. That's like the feeling I'm getting. But it is impossible to tell. They just had a big government. I mean, I don't really know much about it. Ling Ling knows a lot more about this than I do, but they just had a big, like, official, big deal government conference thing in Beijing recently. And I'm assuming part of it was talking about VPNs and, like, the next plan of attack. So maybe they came to some conclusion there, but the Chinese government is not one to share what the plan is. They will just be like, this is the plan. Now it's happening. And like with no warning. That's kind of how I feel about it anyways. So part of me is a little scared. I'd be lying if part of me didn't say I was scared for the future of VPN in China. But most of me feels like it's going to be okay. So if any of you guys are in China right now, let me know how the VPN situation is working. Everything I've heard from Ling Ling and from Thandi has been fairly positive. They both said like, hey, it's all working. They've just limited the number of location options. But it is working. So yeah. I contacted them to ask about the location situation. The lady who helped me said China is really cracking down on VPNs and their engineers are aware of the problem. That's all she said. It's so interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I have like eczema on my hand. I feel like it's like leaking. Ugh. I have a really bad skin problem right now, guys. It's awful. Let me know if you want me to make a video about my skin disease. Anyway. Also, hi, Limin, did I say it right? And Luke, good morning, hello. Luke, I'm assuming you're in China because he said good morning, and it's probably 9 a.m. there? 10? I don't know what time it is. So let's see. Luke says, I think if there's no VPN, the YouTube will be full of Chinese news and context from providers. Interesting. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know. Basically, my whole thought on VPN usage in China is that we are at the mercy of the Chinese government. That is just the reality of it. And we'll see what happens. I'm hoping for the best. It's just impossible to read what on earth is happening right now because the Chinese government came out with a statement saying, we're not shutting down all the VPNs. And then they were like, oh, yes, we are. Oh, no, we're not. Yes, we are. No, we're not. So it's super confusing. Yeah. So I've honestly heard both. I've heard from official government reports have said both, like, things that are completely opposite of each other. So, yeah. Has anyone tried private internet access, PIA for short? I've never even heard of that. Let me know. I've never tried it. Pleco can assist with Chinese language. Yes, it can. I'm just grateful it's working. I've heard most of them have completely stopped working. Yeah, so what I've heard is that pretty much all the free VPNs have stopped working and people are mostly just using the paid ones now, like ExpressVPN. Fun fact, ExpressVPN is based out of the British Virgin Islands, which is interesting. It's in the Caribbean. And the British Virgin Islands have like less data requirements or something. I don't know. It's really interesting. Basically, they're like in this little oasis of like weird rules. So I don't know if that's one of the reasons that Express is still around. I'm not sure. But yeah, Thandi and then with like Ling Ling, I'm in contact with Ling Ling all the time. So I will let you guys know as soon as I hear if Express is to go down because I know a lot of you guys have ExpressVPN. So yeah. In the past, I've gave the access to my dad while he was in China. It worked well for a while. Interesting. So PIA is like access to completely different internet. Like, how does that even work? How do you sidestep the Great Firewall with private internet access? That's really interesting. That is also the Wall of West World. You mean like the TV show? I'm just kidding. I love Westworld. And Stranger Things 2, you guys. Oh my god. I think it just came out today or something. I don't know. I'm seeing all these posts about it online. I know this is not about China, but Stranger Things 2 is a big deal. And I watched Stranger Things, the first season, while I was in China. And I was like so deeply obsessed with it. We watched the whole thing while laying in bed, watching it on our laptop, trying to find like the best semi-legal resource for watching it, because Netflix doesn't really work with VPN. Anyways, we watched it all in China. So tomorrow we're having friends over and we're going to play a Stranger Things 2 drinking game. I'm so excited. But yeah, I'm dying because I want to watch it like right now and I have to wait. Anyways, let's see. What were the other topics? Oh, I had a really interesting conversation. It was with Thandi also. I mean, just a really interesting like thing that came up when we were talking on WeChat. If you guys want to talk on WeChat, my ID is laurensansfear, which is LA. Maybe I shouldn't try to spell this out vocally. It's like la vie, like LAVIE, Sansfear, as in this, SANSPEUR. La vie sans peur. It's in French. It means life without fear. But yeah, that's my ID on WeChat. If you want to add me there, I'm terrible at WeChat, so Facebook message is probably better, which the Facebook page is linked further up in the chat. Anyways, Thandi and I were saying that it's so funny how we both like got to China and our conceptions of China, so for me, my conception of China before I came was that I was like going to be a target and that I was going to get like mugged and people were going to like steal things from me or at least try to. And so like I got this camera case that didn't really look like a camera case so that people wouldn't know I had like an expensive camera on me. And I thought about getting like a money belt and like all this stuff. I was thinking about getting the passport scarf and all that. And I got to China and it was so weird because China felt so much safer than the US. It's so strange. And now being back in the US, it's even weirder because I experienced, there you go, thank you. That's my WeChat ID right there. Lee Mean posted it. This is really hard. Anyways, I came back to the US and suddenly I felt less safe. And that was way weirder. So I mean, a reverse culture shock is always weirder. I have a video all about reverse culture shock. Like the culture shock of getting to a country is almost expected, and then you get home and you expect everything to be fine, and it's not, and that's super weird. So, same thing went with like feeling safe or unsafe. Like at home in the U.S., I felt perfectly fine, super safe. We go to China, I'm like, is this safe? I don't know. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, what? This is way safer than the U.S. I don't get it. And, then I came back to the U.S. and now I'm like, I'm going to get shot. Oh my God, I'm so scared. Someone's going to shoot me. Like, oh, I don't get it. I don't like guns, guys. It's really hard for me to live in a place where guns are legal and people can just freaking carry them around. It's terrifying. You should still come to the U.S. though. I'll shepherd you. Anyways, it's hard for anxious people to talk about safety and not get freaked out. Anyways, so we talked about VPN, the VPN scare. We talked about safety. What's next? Do you guys want to talk about Chinese food or bathrooms or beauty products? We could talk about products. We can talk about products that are difficult to find in China. That's actually something that I've been asked a lot. And whenever I'm on the spot, I'm like, I can never think of anything. And in the blog post that, that's a hard question that just popped up. But in the blog post that I'm putting up either tonight or tomorrow morning, or it might be tomorrow afternoon. In that blog post, I have a list of like stuff that I extracted kind of from my brain of like things that are difficult to buy in China that I was used to in the Western world. Like deodorant, tampons, skin products for people who don't want to be super pale, or like can't be super pale without looking super weird. Or like hair products for curly hair. There's just a lot of peanut butter, oatmeal, coffee, that's not instant coffee. There's a whole, like, I could come up with such a huge list of things that are hard to find in China. And I just Googled this today, and the first thing that came up was a forum on the Beijinger of people arguing with each other. That's it. I was like, this is awful content. We need to replace this. So if you want to contribute to the great list of things that are difficult to buy in China, let me know, because I'd love to create a blog post and get that ranked like top of the Google search, so that people will actually find something useful. So yeah, if there's anything that you have trouble finding in China, let me know. Food-wise, I could go on and on, because there's food that I missed horribly when I was in China. Yes, I know the Food Ranger. I'm not subscribed to his channel. I've seen a couple of his videos. They seem super fun. I don't know much about him, honestly. I did have someone complain to me one time about how he has 2 Chinese girlfriends, and there aren't enough Chinese girls in China, so how can he steal 2 of them? I was like, well, that's the lady's choice, I think. So that's all I have to say. Anyways, tell us about your thoughts about the Las Vegas shooting. Since you asked, I will touch on it. These things happen in the U.S. so often now that I almost feel like it takes effort to connect to them emotionally, because as someone who deals with depression that is at times debilitating, it's hard for me to connect with something that's so tragic without going down this spiral of despair. So when that whole thing happened, I kind of just let myself be sad. Okay, you know what's really interesting? So all those hurricanes happened and I was super sad. Like, I was just really heartbroken for everybody who was suffering. And then all the stories coming out of Puerto Rico, because I listen to a lot of public radio. I don't really trust media that's like government approved. Like, I hate the U.S. media, like most of the U.S. media. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I'm pretty like real online. I don't like most of U.S. media. I don't like most U.S. corporations. Like, I just don't trust. It's not that I don't like them. I don't trust them. So I listen to a lot of public radio, which is publicly funded, like NPR. And they were putting out a lot of stories about Puerto Rico that were super eye-opening and really difficult to hear, because, I mean, I just didn't know very much about Puerto Rico. I didn't grow up learning about Puerto Rico. I'm like, why didn't I grow up learning about Puerto Rico? Like, what? I don't know. It gives me goosebumps to think about it, because it's a group of people who deserve to be, like, taught about in the U.S. Like, if it's a U.S. Territory and they can be U.S. citizens, why didn't I learn about their culture, you know? Anyways, I'm getting very worked up about that. So I'm getting to it. So the Las Vegas shooting happened. I think that was kind of like next on the list of terrible things happening. It was like, oh my gosh, like everything Trump is doing is making me want to throw up and cry at the same time. And then the hurricanes, and then the shooting. And I was like, I don't even think I can handle this anymore. Like, I just had to disconnect emotionally from everything. It was like, I can't do this anymore. And then the North Bay fires happened, which is pretty close to home. We felt it. We breathed in smoke. The air quality was about the same as Beijing on a really bad pollution day. We had ash on our car. Like, it's all very close to home. And then I saw pictures of the fire, like the results of what happened to the fire. And it was a very unique fire because there was so much wind. I'll put this live stream a little bit. We're going to go 15 minutes past the time, because I'm talking so much about something that's not China. Anyway, so there were all these pictures that came out showing like suburban neighborhoods that burned to the ground, like hundreds of homes destroyed. There's like half a town that's gone. There's some towns where like it's not going to get rebuilt. Like, people are going to move other places. I fully intend to go. Very soon I'm going to go through my clothes, and I have a lot of stuff that I don't wear, and I'm going to donate a bunch of stuff. I want to go around the house and donate stuff to people who lost these people lost everything. So in short, I didn't really connect to all these tragic events going on until the North Bay fire happened, because it was literally like in front of me. I had to connect to it emotionally, and it kind of destroyed me for a day or two. And that's kind of when I started to process everything. And I think with the Las Vegas shooting, my thoughts are, I mean, like, my first thought is, why the hell are automatic weapons legal for citizens to carry anywhere? They shouldn't be. I mean, in my opinion, and also, like, how is it that someone is able to obtain so many guns illegally? Because some of his guns were obtained legally, some weren't. And then it comes back to mental health. Like, what was this guy missing in his life? You know, like, would he, if he had been served better in a mental health kind of a way, like, would he be better for it? I don't know. So, but then you think too much about the assailant, and then you don't think enough about the victims who are dealing with this tragedy. And, like, it just, basically, it's really horrible. Everything that's happened is making me want to give back as much as I can. I think the number one, because I don't have a ton of money, the number one way that I can help give back is giving blood. That's a huge one. I just gave blood for Harvey victims. It was probably like 3 weeks after the hurricane, because I was terrified. I'd never given blood before, and it's been a long-standing fear. So I finally did it. And so I think there's only like a couple more weeks until I can give blood again. And so I'll do that. And that will probably end up going to the fire victims. I'm also going to donate clothes to the fire victims. But yeah, I guess, like, my thoughts on it are just that, like, I can't really, like, fully connect with it emotionally without it tearing me apart. And it's extremely tragic what happened, and I wish none of this crap happened. So yeah, I like what Trent said right there. Tragedies pull good people together. Good on you for your donations. That's good on anybody. If you donated blood, clothes, money, whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah, I'm struggling lately to feel like the country isn't falling apart. That's where I'll end that. So, back to China. And we're going to go for another like 20, 30 minutes here about China. Good question, Lee-Min, though. That was a good talk. I feel like you guys helped me process things. Like, I have to verbalize things that I wouldn't think about otherwise, or like, you know, verbalize things that I think about but don't say out loud. So it's really cool that, like, thank you for letting me blabber at you guys. Trevor James for the win. Is Trevor James the food ranger? Okay, do you have a plan to live in other cities of China? Luke asks. Probably. Because, I don't know, I think for me, I want kids. And I'm not in a rush, for the record, not in a rush. But when I do have kids and they're old enough to where they are actually in school, I would actually really love to find an excuse to go live abroad in China again, because I think it's such an important country in the world. Like, it's huge. There's a crap load of people there. Learning Mandarin would be an extremely valuable skill for a kid. I'd love for my kids to be birthed speaking English, Spanish, and Mandarin. That would be like heaven for me. Who knows? It's kind of up to them. They're their own individuals. I haven't even had kids yet, so I'm talking about theoretical children. Anyways, my point is, I'd love for my kids to experience China because it's so different from the U.S. It has an ancient history, super important country in the world, tons of people there, and I think it'd be such a cool life experience for them to, like, be able to see what living in another culture is like. So I would love to live in China again sometime. To be honest, I'm not particularly interested in living outside of a major city, just because as a foreigner, there's a lot more going on for me in a major city. So basically, into the, like, big major cities I'd be willing to live in. Preferably not Nanjing again, just because I love Nanjing, don't get me wrong, but it's extremely conservative there, and I felt judged all the time. Like, I felt like I did when I felt the way I do, and I hope my grandparents aren't watching this, because I doubt they are. I felt the way I did when I'm at my grandparents' house, which is very judged. About all my core beliefs. So I don't know why that's how I felt in Nanjing. Maybe it'd be different years from now. But yeah, anyways. Trevor James is the food ranger along with his fiance Ting Ting. Oh, so one's a fiance and one is a friend? I don't know. I don't get why someone was, like, complaining to me about how he had 2 girlfriends or whatever. I was like, I don't even know this guy, so I don't know what to say to you. Anyways, wow. I don't even know where this conversation is going. Live streaming is funny because, like, you talk, but technically you're, like, in a room by yourself. But then there's these people who are, like, interacting with you. And then I swear every time after I get off a live stream, my husband's like, how'd it go? And I'm like, I don't remember any of it. It's like I black out. Water. Guess what I put in this? Ice. Boom. Gonna get sick, huh? That's a China reference. What is Ling Ling's YouTube name? It is youtube.com/LenaAround. Let me share it with you. There you go. She's got a great channel all about China. So we talked about VPN, safety. If you guys have, I want to talk about food that's difficult to find in China, because I found it super hard to find anything like remotely Mexican, which is kind of like the food that I grew up with. Like I couldn't find avocado or lime. Those are two huge things in Mexican cooking. It was hard to find tortillas or like any kind of taco seasoning of any kind, like, or even just the elements of taco seasoning. Peanut butter. Also, instant coffee was like my coffee replacement. I do not miss instant coffee. I really don't. So regular coffee, like ground coffee or coffee beans, and also coffee makers are extremely difficult to find in China. Most people, if they want coffee, drink instant coffee or they go out for coffee. Got a hiccup. Leo, I'm so sorry. So sorry. She says hi, or he says, hi Lauren, how are you? Being from NH. New Hampshire? Are you from New Hampshire? Hello. I feel so awkward right now. Let's see. The other thing, so I want to talk about items that are hard to find in China, not just food, also like what are some items that you guys have found super difficult to find in China? For those of you who live there or have been there. I hear that deodorant is really hard to find in China. I actually didn't really know. Because, what am I saying? God, I'm spacing out, guys. I need more coffee. I usually put a double shot of this is horrible. I've been putting a double shot of espresso in my coffee for the last 3 days, and today I didn't, and I'm dying, so I'm really sorry. Being from New Hampshire, yes. Awesome. Are you from China? Just out of curiosity. The reason I asked is because you say being, which makes me think, maybe you're from China. The way to pay that is really totally different from the USA. The way to pay. Thandi, you had said, I want to contribute. I really appreciate that. I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, Las Vegas shooting or anything like that. I know the Red Cross is great for giving blood. I don't particularly recommend it for giving money. A really great, I don't really know a good organization. Just do a little bit of research, and I'm sure someone has a great nonprofit. Oh, a really good one that I just heard about on air on NPR was, if you're interested in this kind of thing. I just saw some. You guys can all see that, huh? Opinions about Chinese food safety because the comment is too long. I want to check out this link in case. I'm actually kind of scared to go to that link. Do you want to just post the comment? I'm scared to post the link. If someone here, I'll show it, and if someone else wants to go to the link, that's cool. I'm scared to put it in. So anyways, items that are hard to find in China. We've got, I didn't buy deodorant. That's what I was saying. I didn't buy deodorant in China because I don't go through a crap load of deodorant, so I just brought 2 with me, and it lasted for a year. Is that normal? I don't know. I don't put on deodorant every day because I don't need it every day. I put it on every other day, every 3 days, something like that. Probably every other day. But yeah, I brought my own deodorant. I brought my own tampons. I brought my own makeup because I use the only mascara I've ever found that I'm not allergic to. I have to use an organic mascara. How sad is that? I feel like such a freaking pretentious a-hole when I say I use organic mascara. It's really overpriced too. But yeah, I'm allergic to everything else that I've ever tried. And I brought my own eyebrow makeup. Although I think eyebrow makeup is actually kind of easy to find in China because I find that women often will do brown eyebrows in China. And I don't think many women, tell me if you think I'm wrong. I think that less women in China wear makeup compared to the US. I think more people in the US wear makeup. So I don't know. Let me know what you think of that. I know Langley agrees with me. Let's talk about body odor. Yeah, so, okay, I just heard today that body odor in China is a way to check up on your health. Like, if you stink really bad, it means that something is off and you need to change something nutritionally or like sleep-wise or, exercise or whatever, which is so interesting because in the US, they're like, everybody stinks, everybody needs deodorant, just cover it on up. It's like the opposite message. So let me know if you guys have thoughts on that. That is such an interesting topic to me. The thing is, okay, so my point about deodorant was that I brought all the deodorant I needed. I never really shopped for it, but I'm pretty sure I saw it there. Like, I'm pretty sure Chinese people use deodorant. Yeah, anyways. If someone goes to this link, let me know. I want to trust you, but I don't like putting random links in my computer because we just had an issue with viruses recently in this house, so I'm very concerned about it. I'm so sorry. I'm very cautious. I'm an anxious person. I'm so sorry. Anyways, Thandi says body moisturizer, hair moisturizer. For body moisturizer, I used one Chinese brand and it was scented. And I can't use scented moisturizers because I have eczema and it'll irritate it. So I ended up paying. I was talking about you wanting to blog about difficult things again. Oh, you want to contribute? Yes, please. Yes, please, Thandi. Please do. I will message you on either Facebook or WeChat, and we can talk through this blog post because this is some content that needs to be out there. Like actual real content where people aren't just going to argue back and forth and throw the F-bomb at each other. It was such a stupid conversation that showed up. Anyways. Body moisturizer. I ended up in China needing to buy Cetaphil, which is becoming super common in China. Cetaphil, it's like Cetaphil. Cetaphil. It's good for people with eczema or with really like with skin, very sensitive skin. And so I ended up paying like way too much for it because it's an imported product in China. But yeah, that was easy to come by, and I was like, I don't care. My skin was so bad. I was just willing to pay for anything at that point. But if you guys have eczema, I'm sure very few people watching this do, but in case you do, there's actually a cream that you can get at Chinese pharmacies. All you got to do to get it is type in the word eczema on your Pleco app and show it to the lady, and she'll hand it off to you. But I think it's called Miao Fu Ren. Like cat people? What does that mean? Anyways, it's like a yellow cream, and it kind of does make your skin look yellow temporarily, but it is like magic on eczema. It is pure magic. It's really incredible. I still use it sometimes. Blah, 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 blah. Hair moisturizer. Yes. I feel like I got the feeling most Chinese people deal with oily hair rather than dry hair. And I am quite the opposite. When you have curly hair, I think a lot of the times you deal with dry hair. I ended up bringing argan oil and like some essential oils, and that helped a lot. And I had this like serum. I don't know, I packed like all the beauty products I needed beforehand. So yeah, stay tuned for a blog post co-written by my friend Thandi about products that are difficult to find in China that you should pack with you if you want to have them. One question I got was, are curling irons common in China? Like curling irons and straightening irons. Are those common like hair tools, electric hair tools? I have no idea because I don't use hot tools on my hair. I just get out of bed and shake my hair around. It's really bad. Anyways, China girl, use Mei to Xiao to somewhat replace the makeup personal speak. Is that the app where you like put makeup on through the app? Because those Chinese apps that make your face all like faded out, pale, make your eyeballs like this big. Oh, that's my favorite. I love them. They're so much fun. Even if you don't go to China, seriously, you should download one of those apps one day. Even if you're a male, I don't care. Go on one and freaking play around with it because it is the most fun thing ever. It's so ridiculous. I took a picture of Eric and tried to make everything as extreme as possible, and we like laughed until our stomachs were hurting. It was ridiculous. Are the bathrooms in China clean? Ooh. I have a video all about bathrooms in China. The conclusion of that is that it varies greatly depending on where you are. And if it's a public restroom, probably not. I'd say for the most part, Chinese restrooms are not very clean. Or bathrooms. I call them restrooms. I tend to call them restrooms. Bathrooms in China, for the most part, not super clean. But it's a squatting toilet, so it's more hygienic because you can kind of walk in and not touch anything. So that's kind of nice, honestly. And I'm not just saying that. I really do think that's kind of nice. But I was in bathrooms in China that were so high tech and fancy and complicated that, like, I didn't even know how to use the toilet or open the freaking door or turn on the sink. Like, I literally walked into a freaking, like, minimal art exhibit of a bathroom. It was so difficult to try to figure out how to use it. And then I've also been in quite the opposite, which is like I walk in a bathroom and there's like, it's completely open and there's just like 3 holes in the ground and they're literally right next to each other and there's a woman like pooping in there, like totally chill. And then I walk in and I'm like supposed to squat next to her and pee like right next to her. Like, I don't get it. We're not used to that in America. I think I went in and turned directly around and left. I also saw a rat in a bathroom one time, but that was the most extreme example, okay? Yeah. So, mostly, no. What is the best Chinese food you ate so far? Xiaolongbao. Xiaolongbao for the win. Soup dumplings in China. Oh my god. And honestly, Chinese people, you can hate on me if you want. Din Tai Fung had the best. I'm really sorry. Yeah, Din Tai Fung is a Taiwanese restaurant, I think. And they have locations in different parts of China. I know Beijing has one. I know Hong Kong has, no, maybe not. Shanghai has 1 or 2. Anyways, Din Tai Fung is an extremely good restaurant with like the best soup dumplings you've ever had in your life. You got to get the like traditional ones though, like their regular popular soup dumpling. I think it's just pork. It's so good. It is like, I mean, soup dumplings are like orgasmic in the world of food. What just happened to me here? Getting all hot and bothered about food. Yeah, so soup dumpling or xiaolongbao, you can call them, that's in Chinese, or I really liked dumplings a lot in China. Dondi, what's your favorite food in China? I also love, oh crap, I'm so close to remembering how to say it. It's like something buo cai, like cauliflower. It's a cauliflower dish. I don't know. I made a blog post about this, like my favorite foods that I tried in China. I also have a video about it. But yeah, that was some of my favorite. And people were like, wow, you really like jianbing. I'm like, it's because it was the only food I knew how to order. So I just ate it a lot. Feel free to paste it. Go for it. I'd love to see it. I'm so curious. Then again, some of the bathroom and U.S. gas station stops are terrible as well. They truly are. Actually, some fun fact, any of you from China will definitely appreciate this, or if you're not from the U.S. As many of you know, the U.S. has an opioid problem, and opioids are often injected into a vein when people take them. And so there are U.S. bathrooms in public places like parks or areas that are not like the best side of town kind of places, and they will have a blue light instead of a regular white light because that makes it nearly impossible to see your vein, so that you can't like do drugs in the bathroom. Like, how crazy is that? Like, I've seen that multiple times in the US. That blows my freaking mind. So the point of telling you that is not to freak you out about the US. The point is to, and also it's not like, I mean, like I've never been like attacked by someone on opioids. Okay. So like, don't think that this is, I think the only time I've ever been offered any kind of opioid was in Ireland. Like, how strange is that? I don't think in the US I've ever been offered one, which I'm totally down with. Anyways, the point of telling you that was to show you that even in the US, where people consider this like a fairly clean country, we got dirty bathrooms too. Let's see. The average of food safety is lower than some Western countries. That's true, but the Western food that is not safe as most Westerns thought. That's why I've tasted anything amazing. Gandhi, I feel like you come from such an interesting food culture, like one that's super different than mine. I don't know. Just because you said you know Indian food really well. And I know almost nothing about Indian food. I grew up eating a lot of like Mexican food and maybe you could call it like Italian and then like Pan-Asian, like basically like just blends of Asian culture into like a stir fry or something like that. Starting free expensive, I'm concerned about these things. Then some Western is not that safe as most Western thought. Yeah, so I think what you're, I get kind of what you're saying about food safety in the U.S. versus in China. The FDA has really interesting rules. The FDA is like the government agency that controls the quality of our food here. They have some weird rules, and I mean, let's be honest. China and the U.S. are both extremely corrupt countries. I said it. I'll say it again. I'll say it a million times over. There's so much freaking money in politics in the U.S. and in China. It's stupid and it's disheartening, but it's just the reality. The U.S. is really good at being like, everything is fine. Like, look at these smiles, you know, like, but I mean, I've gotten food poisoning in the U.S. before. I don't think I ever got food poisoning in China. Isn't that crazy? Oh, nope. I did once from Mojito Man in Beijing. That was a really bad idea. That was on Halloween last year. Yeah, I got food poisoning really bad from that because I think they were using tap water. And as you know, you're not supposed to drink the tap water in China because it'll give you like terrible stomach issues. But yeah, in the US, I've gotten food poisoning a couple times and it sucked. I also got food poisoning in Thailand. Anyways, let's see. But okay, so Eastern countries tend to have like less sanitary rules, like food sanitation rules. There's not really like as many guidelines or any guidelines. Like anyone can just kind of cook up food on the street in China. That's kind of what I gathered. And you can kind of like leave meat out for a long time. There's no rules on like refrigerating meat that you're selling, which kind of freaked me out. Basically, I used my eyeballs and my brain to like figure out what the best food would be. Like your instincts are pretty good when it comes to food safety, honestly. Trust your instincts because as a human, you're designed to survive. So trust your instincts. I didn't buy any meat that was not refrigerated, personally. That was just my personal thing. I had to. But I bought many produce items that were left out for people to just touch and put their hands in, put their fingers in their nose and stuff, like whatever. I bought eggs that weren't refrigerated, which in the U.S., well, that's because they're unpasteurized. Anyways, the point is, don't be too freaked out about food safety in China. Just use your brain and your eyes. Yes, Indian food is life. I'm very sad I can't cook it here. I have no idea why I thought I'd be able to get the spices here. That's so sad. Ugh, that's really frustrating. It's kind of like, mileage-wise, is India closer to where you are now? Like, as the bird flies, is India closer to where you are now than it is to South Africa, where you're from? Probably, because Africa's huge, although China's huge too. I don't know. Okay, yeah, so let me just like skim through this. Information should be free. Information. Yeah, Western media is, I'm not supposed to swear, BS. Just straight up. There's a lot of money in it. Money talks. And the Western media, unfortunately, controls the minds of many people, which is frustrating. But, c'est la vie. That's how it goes when you start allowing people to pay money to get certain people elected. Blah, blah, blah. Some people in China were like, why are you so much more aware than other Americans? I'm like, I don't think I'm special for understanding how media works, you know? I think there are many people who know it. There's some people who don't, and some people who ignore it, and some people who know it and give into it anyways. I don't know. I was just like brought up like that, I guess. It's nothing special though. Like Eric thinks the same way. His family generally thinks the same way, all that stuff. This is so interesting. So, okay, so I'll go to your link, okay? Sorry. I don't want to make you like post all this stuff on here. West people don't want to buy this information, blah, 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 blah. Food Inc. Chinese news reports that famous people were gone. If you look at their age, most of them were older than 90 years old. Anyways, okay, so that's a really interesting topic. Bing, do you have anywhere, like, if people want to continue talking about that subject, can we go to that link and comment and stuff? Or are you on WeChat? Because it sounds like a pretty interesting topic, and there might be people who really want to talk to you about it. Thank you for sharing, for sure. I'm going to make sure I answer all these questions because I have to go soon. Street smart for street food. Exactly. Use your brain, use your eyes, and trust your gut. Because you're a human. Humans have persevered through a hell of a lot. And a big portion of survival is knowing what to eat and what not to eat. So if you trust your gut, I think you'll get farther than you think. In Thailand, when I got food poisoning, I kind of worried when I was so hungry. That was the problem. I was so hungry and I saw food and I was like, I'm getting it. I don't care. But the meat skewers that I had meat skewers and they weren't cooked for very long and the coals did not look very hot at all. Like he looked like he half-assed it all. So I actually didn't have the best feeling about it from the get-go. And so that's an instance where if I had just trusted my gut and just thrown it away instead of eating it, I wouldn't have gotten food poisoning. Anyways, I think Hu Jintao is probably the best liberal prime minister in Chinese history next to Deng Xiaoping. To be honest, I don't really know a ton about modern Chinese history, like historical figures. I like ancient history. Is that weird? I don't know. I feel like I hear about modern history in the U.S. and in China, and I have so much trouble remembering it and just getting it to stick in my brain because I'm like so much more interested in ancient culture. That's my historical like sweet spot, I guess. Anyways, blah, 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 blah. I can show you an interesting thing, blah, blah, blah. I already read that. Watched your video once, like your videos very much. Can you differentiate Southern Chinese from Northern Chinese? I like doing this as a Chinese. I understood, okay, so like the Nanjing dialect sounds so crazy. It's so different. I learned how to say one thing in the Nanjing dialect, which is ayolaiowa, which is, I think that means, do you want spice? I think it's the Nanjing version of saying like, yo la jiang ma, like, do you want spice on your food? Yeah, ayolaiowa. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, so Nanjing dialect was super crazy sounding compared to Mandarin. And then when we got to Beijing, there's the Erhua, which is just the way of saying like their accent. And it sounds, people describe it as having marbles in your mouth. And there's like a lot of like R sounds. I don't know how to, like zhongguar, or there's like an R after things where there wouldn't be an R sound in Nanjing. Does that make sense? So I did kind of start to pick up on the like north and south like speaking differences and also the food differences. In the north there's so much more bread and dairy. It's so interesting. And then in the south there's a lot more like seafood and vegetables. That's kind of how I felt. Yeah, I think I preferred the southern cuisine better. I don't know if that's like, if I'm really picking up on that well or not. But there was so much good food in Nanjing. It was crazy. That's your WeChat. Okay, here, I'll show that. Perfect. Yeah, so if you guys want to talk about food safety and all that stuff, Bing has her, like, why can't I talk? Her, like, WeChat and stuff. I don't know. Anyways, you can continue the discussion about, like, food safety and the kind of the differences between the West and the East. But, you know, take it all with a grain of salt. Everything from everybody that you hear. My main tip for you when it comes to how you judge China is to judge it on your own. Like, be your own individual. Have your own thoughts about it. Try to not let the opinions of others influence the way you feel about it, you know? I went to China thinking certain things about China, and it definitely, like, inhibited my understanding of Chinese culture. I was just like, I don't get it. Why are they doing this? You know, like, why is that how it is? And then, like, the more I let go of those stereotypes, I feel like I look like I have a microphone, like I'm Britney Spears on stage. Like, Spice Girls. I felt like the more I let go of all the preconceptions I had about China and Chinese people, the more I could learn about China. And really, what it comes down to, and this is what I would like to end on, is that Chinese people and American people, or Chinese people and just Western people in general, have so much more in common than they have different. Okay? We are all humans. We all have our struggles and amazing positive things about us. We all have this awesome culture that we come from and history, and we have family values and all these beautiful things, community, just so many beautiful things in all our cultures that are so similar. Even though they look different with your eyeballs, they're probably not that different as you think they are. So I think my number one tip, if you are headed to China, is to try to keep your mind as open as possible. It's easier said than done. So be gentle on yourself. If you feel like you're having trouble being open-minded, try not to judge yourself for it. Just be. Try to be. That's all. Does that make sense? As I said at the beginning of this live stream, I almost said podcast. Do I know where I am right now? As I said at the beginning of this live stream, my foot's falling asleep. Like I said at the beginning, I am working on a very big, very helpful, super practical blog post about moving to China. So definitely go check out laurenwithoutfear.com tomorrow afternoon, and it should be up. I'll tell you what it is. Since you made it to the end of the live stream, I'll tell you. It is a moving to China checklist. So if you are moving to China, seriously, this is going to be super helpful for you. So just remember that everyone is, thank you guys. I'm so glad you guys agree. It makes me feel good. I feel the love. I really do. I feel that love coming for you guys. That's so cool. I love human connection is my favorite thing in the whole world. And I know it sounds really cheesy. It makes me want to cry, but it's what's so beautiful about living, even though all these tragic things happen. It's what I keep coming back to stay positive. So yeah. Be good to each other, be human, be open-minded. Yeah, that's it. Do you have any last questions or last comments or anything? It's morning in China, guys, LOL. Oh yeah. It's evening here for me. It's almost 7 p.m. In China, though, it's probably almost 10 a.m. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. So yeah, have a great morning or a great evening wherever you are, and thank you so much for joining the live stream. I will talk to you guys very soon. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Okay, bye. Oh, no, I gotta click another